Hello, everybody, Anime Reflux. I don't know why I'm doing the voice. It just kind of happened
Hello,
today,
how are
so
you? I'm doing good. This is Lush.
it's it was a choice. It was a choice to go with
Here's a
this voice
choice.
for
Yes,
some
there is a
reason.
choice.
Yes, yeah.
And there in this verse, yes.
So back to normal voice. Don't know. I honestly don't know where that came from.
I, I don't know, but I like it.
Didn't even think about it. But yeah, Anime Reflux. We're back. We're here. We're doing the reflux of the anime. Which for this week is Date Alive.
Date alive.
Yeah, I had heard the name of this one. I honestly thought it was like Idolmaster or like one of those shows, but it's not. Nothing to do with that.
Nope.
There's a totally different thing of a show that has a very similar Love Live. I feel like I literally said this last time we did an
You
episode.
literally said this last time,
Yeah.
yes.
Uh, so yeah, I had no idea what this anime was, and the summaries, if memory serves, were not especially helpful in answering that question.
The first summary was not, the second summary was a bit more.
Hmm. So yeah, I'm gonna say better than I expected, less than I hoped, and I feel like
hmm
that opinion shifted
I think it
dramatically
says
halfway
something.
through the episode. Go ahead.
Uh,
Sorry.
okay. So my connection's a bit acting out right now because I just booted up my computer.
Ah. Okay.
Um, I think it says something when this is a series that when I was like in, I think it was high school, when I was
Oh
doing
god.
my binge of light novels and other things. This is
This
one of
came,
those that
this anime came out in 2013.
yeah, and I graduated in 2013.
I hate
So
you. I hate you so
the
much.
light novel came out before then,
Mm.
obviously, and it's. I remember reading the light novels and liking them. I eventually dropped off, but I liked it. I think it says something though that when I go back and I watch this show and I see the opening, my first thought is this looks kind of like garbage. This looks bad. What? I'm not sure. I mean, I think I know why I read it because girls, but still,
I just opened my email again. So yeah.
stop doing that. You don't need to. It's fine.
So yeah. I I have no problem with fan service. Obviously, it's my fucking job at this point. That this is what I do. But still, uh, no. I'd honestly say for the first half of this episode, ages aside, which yeah, um, this was pretty competently done and had a lot more charm to it than I thought it would
Yes,
for
I
the
will say
first half of the
that
episode.
the it opens with him being awoken by the main character Shido being awakened by his younger sister Kotori, and him
Mm,
being like, "I've got the 10 more minutes, or else my little sister gets the tickle attack virus, otherwise known as the T virus."
yeah, and she 100% buys into it and looks terrified, and it's really even in the dub. Like usually this sort of stuff, you get a bad line read in the dub, and it just ruins the whole thing. Like the whole gag is ruined. In this case,
hmm
they nailed it. Like the little sister's voice actor is fantastic. She is very emotive, very um, charming. I'll say. I keep
Yeah,
saying charm, but yeah. And yeah, I was 100% into it. Didn't really. The 14, thanks, show, for saying that and doing relentless crotch shots afterwards. Um, didn't need that, but putting that aside, I like the characters. I feel like, yeah, this is a brother and sister, and they are screwing around and fucking with each other. And fucking with each other, figuratively, that is. And yeah, I 100% bought it. It's maybe a little nicer than a real brother sister relationship, but still.
Mm.
Uh, yeah, so I was 100% into that. And then they start going to school. We get some exposition about the spatial quakes, which the show actually starts with a gigantic spatial quake of like most of Eurasia being smashed by one. I say most, it's like 150 million people, so like maybe that's maybe like not even a 50th of the population of the continent, but you know, it's a big number and a scary number, and it probably ruined multiple countries.
Yeah.
So yeah, those happened. The big one happened, then a bunch of little ones, and then they stopped for like 25 years, and then they started happening again. We get that exposition, and then they're off to school, and the little sister really wants to have dinner at a diner because she's maybe a little spoiled. And they make plans to meet there after school, and she says, even if there's a spatial quake, you have to be here. And he's like, okay. And there are three girls that are just sort of watching this and are like, ew, he like has a sister complex or something. And one of them says, that's so lame. And this was another thing that I was like, okay, that's actually pretty funny. Of like, two of these girls have actual commentary and things to say, and one of them is just repeating "that's so lame" every 3 seconds. It's
I don't have
I
anything to contribute, but I'm going to contribute.
yeah. I also saw in the comments that someone was doing that, just responding to all of the comments with "that's so lame," and no one got it. Not a single person. Everyone was like, I'm saying something. He's like, that's so lame. They're like, what? Why? That's so mean. Why would you say that? But yeah, they spot the class genius just sort of lurking behind a lamppost and watching the main character. And like, what's she doing? That's so lame and stuff, you know. And
So
then
lame.
other guy shows up and he's like friendly with the protagonist, and they're like, I think he swings both ways. That's so lame. Which, you know, okay, maybe. Also, I want to know what this girl is actually into, because she seems to be, let's say, critical of pretty much everything. So she must be into the weirdest, raunchiest shit. That's my guess.
She just like opens up her room and it's just a nightmare, like hell dimension of just everything wrong, and you just no,
Yeah.
no, close the door.
And she's into Vor.
Oh,
Yeah.
uh, mm,
So, moving on.
yummy.
Yeah, they go to school, and Genius Girl looks at him and is like, hey, you don't remember me? And he's like, no. And bisexual guy is like, hey, I have to hang out with my girlfriend. And he's like, okay, cool. And the guy shows him his girlfriend, and it's a dating sim.
Yeah, my girlfriend. She's the best and nice and kindest, and she never says anything mean about me like that's so lame.
You remember those days, don't you, Zero? I say remember. Anyway. Hypocrisy is why it's funny. So, moving on. They get their new homeroom teacher because it's a new school year, because every anime starts at the beginning of a school year. And it's the nice and pretty one, I guess, and everyone's happy about it. And then school happens. Skip to the end of it. And a spatial quake warning happens. Like, right as they're about to leave. So evacuation orders, we get some cool shots of some very specific things being like taken underground, like a train railing, which is kind of specific. Like, okay, that's really important, I guess. Like, of all the things that are going to be destroyed, it's a weird thing to pick out to save, but all right, let's go with it.
Keeping the railways for emergency transportation and stuff like that, probably.
I mean, yeah, but they take one section of railway with a train on it, and if any section of the railway is destroyed, then it's fucked. Like, you can't do
Well,
anything with
is
it.
it just the one, or
It's
is there
just the
more
one
to it?
section. Like, right at the station.
Because it's a zoomed in shot, so I don't know.
I mean, it's just one section that gets sectioned off and taken down. We don't see whether any of the others are, but that one was, I guess. Yeah, so the school's evacuating, and protagonist is like, okay, I need to see what my sister's doing. So he calls her up, doesn't get an answer. He looks on his tracker on the phone just to be like, I know she said even if there's a spatial quake, but she wouldn't actually be there if there's a spatial. She's right there. Shit. And takes off running.
Okay, well, I guess I'm going.
Takes off running. The streets are empty because obviously everyone's evacuating because it's a big one, presumably. I don't think it was established that it was going to be a big one, but it was a big one. Then it happens like 50 feet in front of him and takes out several buildings. And in the middle of the crater that's left, there is a girl that is in weird pseudo Gundam mecha armor kind of thing.
Like just glowing knight armor.
Yeah, the sort of weird, inexplicable armor that they kind of have like mecha pilots wear, even though it serves no purpose whatsoever.
Yeah.
And she's like there, and she sees him, and she's like, "Oh, I get it. You're here to kill me," and puts a sword in his face. And he's like, no. Hi. Who?
Immediately before that, though, she releases like one slash and destroys several buildings right next to him. And he's just like, oh, okay. Hi.
And he pleads innocence, and then there are Sky. I'm just going to call them Valkyries because that's probably what they're called, just at a guess. And they come flying in.
Girls in flying mecha armor with missiles.
I mean, the organization is literally called Ratatoska, which they pronounce terribly in the dub, but probably worse in Japanese. So, yeah, the genius girl is at the head of them, and they get into a brief scuffle where Sword Lady does slashes at them and destroys a bunch of missiles and creates an energy shield with missiles that it blocks. And then protagonist passes out, and that's all we see of that. And he wakes up inside a base talking to a very bored and sleepy looking lady who is patching him up. And he's like, okay, what the fuck just happened? Where am I? And she's like, calm down. You're in
the med bay. Your sister's safe. Come with me.
Yeah, like I actually myself just kind of ran out of energy there, but that's pretty much what happens. She's like, oh, fuck. So yeah, she takes him to the main command bridge, whatever, and there is a dude there that is blonde and has long hair, and he is voiced by Ida from My Hero Academia in the dub. That is. He's a masochist for the protagonist's little sister, who is there and the commander, and it's not really established how or why that happened at any point, which is a large part of why I'm frustrated by the second half of the episode.
She, all along, has been the commander of this organization in secret. and keeping up a cute little sister act in front of her
Yeah.
brother.
And they just kind of don't especially establish that. They just say, hey, I'm a commander. And he has no questions whatsoever and just fucking rolls with it. And that was frustrating. Because from a character perspective, he should probably have more questions.
I
And if that's not enough, she starts berating him at every opportunity as if, of course, this is obvious. Why don't you get it?
Yeah.
I feel like I cannot say for certain, but I do feel like part of the issue with adapting a light novel is you cut out a lot to make it fit into the pacing of an episode.
So they do establish that sort of thing in the books, at least.
I feel like there was a bit more discussion that happened there, but I do not know for certain.
Okay. That I don't know whether that makes me feel better or is more disappointing, but okay, yeah. So we get some very brute force exposition here of the lady that appeared as a spirit. She any spirit that appears causes a spatial quake, and that's why we've been terrified of them for a while because they just cause rampant destruction just by existing. And we have to kill them. Except we don't, because there is also another possibility for how to get rid of them or to make them safe. And you're gonna be how we're gonna do that. We're going to start you with training. And scene change, let's not waste time on it, but scene change to the training, and it's a fucking dating sim with him as the protagonist, literally him as the protagonist.
So, if I recall correctly, they don't show it in this episode, but what this essentially boils down to is when he goes to talk to these girls, he has the entire headquarters of this operation basically coming up, like their top researchers coming up with different options of things for him to say, and then they vote on it and make it into a sort of a real life dating sim type thing. And
Okay.
that's kind of
That's
how
an
they
that's an
translate that.
interesting concept, but I'm not sure I want to see it executed like this.
I'd kind of be into, like I say, that they really fumbled that one scene. But for the show so far, I'm actually kind of into it and charmed by it a little bit. Your microphone is doing some weird things, patient.
What else is new?
Well, it's a new microphone, so yeah. So I found it interesting enough that I am considering just taking at least a second episode to see whether it really grabs me or not.
So am I, which is saying something considering just the etchy-like way the episode opened. I had to set it down and will myself to go back to it after that.
Yeah, it is a fan service show, and you know, like I say, I have less problems with that than maybe some people do. So that doesn't bother me, doesn't detract depending on the source of said fan service. I'm kind of into it. But the plot itself actually sounds pretty amusing, so I'm kind of into it. I would have to see more to really have a solid idea of whether I would recommend it. But what I've seen so far is promising.
The one thing I'm noticing looking at the episodes is I'm looking at like episode 10, which is Flame Spirit Ifrit, and I remember that was in either the third or fourth novel. So pacing might be a bit of an issue, but I'd say this is probably worth a second episode because you don't actually get to see the execution of how they're going to have him attempt to do this and talk to these girls who can just wipe out a city block with a single swing of their sword.
I mean, heck, we don't even get to see his reaction to it. I mean, we have the dating sim trailer telling him what he needs to do, and then smash cut to the ending scene wherein the genius with the white hair tells him that she's working to exterminate the spirits because she lost her parents to one of them 5 years ago. So we don't see his reaction to the revelation that he has to charm these spirits. We don't see if he's incredulous, if he's just taken aback, if he's... So... They do a good job with the hook, even if they don't get to the main plot in this episode. They do a good job with the hook, making you want to watch more. So,
I have a question. I assume, Patient, you watch the sub?
Yes.
Okay. The dating sim bit, did they subtitle that?
Yes.
They did not in the dub. In fact, this is a case where things they probably should have subtitled, they just didn't. Like the text at the beginning, or the text scroll for the dating sim thing, or anything in the dating sim thing, they didn't subtitle any of it. They didn't even dub it, even though it was voiced. It was a little weird, and I thought, okay, this is the credits thing, and that's why no, that's not the credits. Oh. So...
Yeah, I thought it was the credits at first, too.
Yeah. While I do think the dub is very well done, it's a bit spotty, is what I call it. Like, the actual voicing is great,
Incomplete.
but maybe they should actually do more of it and not just skimp on bits for no reason. Also,
incomprehensive, perhaps.
Yeah. Also, that said, if we maybe could have not had the dating sim trailer and just instead finished the proper exposition for that one scene, that would have been way better. Just saying.
I agree.
Yeah. So that's my thoughts on that. Also, they call the organization Ratatska in the dub. That was how it was pronounced. Ratatska.
What?
Not Ratatoska. Ratatska.
No.
Yeah.
Interesting.
What do they call it in the subtitle version? I'm curious.
I mean, I'd have to...
Hang on.
Yeah, I'd have to go find that again.
Yeah, okay, never mind then. So we should probably pick a new show.
This week was a pleasant surprise, but not a wow, this was a great show sort of surprise.
Yeah. Very charming, plenty of potential, but I would have to see where it goes.
They say it the same way in the sub, by the way, Ratataska, which makes me think that is a direction choice.
Well, that's fair enough.
It's a wrong direction choice, but it's a direction choice. Anyway.
All right, who's rolling?
I rolled a 2.
2B.
B!
2B!
Hey!
111.
We kind of have to get an ecchi series now.
61.
61, you said? Well, this week's winner is Black Lagoon.
Okay. That is a famous one.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of things about Black Lagoon. I've never actually watched it.
This is the one with Revy, right? The gun-wielding lady.
Yeah. She's the most famous character out of it, I think.
Yeah. Okay, here we go. Okajima Rokuro, now known almost exclusively as Rock, was once a typical put-upon Japanese businessman. Then, on a routine business trip, he was kidnapped and ransomed by the Lagoon Company, a band of mercenary pirates operating out of the crime-riddled city of Roanoke. Abandoned by his bosses, he joined the Lagoon Company. Now he must try and... Why does it happen to this on every one of these? Now he
Stay
must
afloat.
try and stay afloat amongst the ever-shifting politics of the criminal underworld, while simultaneously avoiding death at the hands of his quick-tempered, gun-toting co-worker, Two-Hand Revy.
12 episodes. And I assume they're full length. Yes.
Yep. Literally the only thing I have seen from this show is the clip they did for the Giant Bomb I hate anime kind of thing, where they were showing 30-second clips of different anime, and this was one of them. I think I've mentioned it before. And it was a clip of like a boat chase on like a river with alligators, and I think the boat did a jump over a helicopter or something. It looked pretty cool.
Well, I don't see any reason to veto this.
Yeah, no, this is great.
So I guess we'll review one of the better known ones next week.
Yeah, another one of the
Yeah.
better ones.
Because Data Live was, it got pretty huge, surprisingly huge.
It did have multiple seasons, so yeah. I opened my email again. Yeah.
Stop.
I can't help it. I need to know. Well, if I'm going to do that, I might.
For reference, Data Live is about to have a 4th season.
Yeah.
And it's had multiple movies, at least one movie. 3 seasons so far. Did it have a game? Probably had a game. Yes, it had video games. 5 video games. Yeah. Huge.
That makes sense. Of all shows, I imagine this one translates very, very well to a video game. So yeah. Black Lagoon next time. I'm kind of looking forward to it. Yeah. Bye, everybody.
Yeah. Bye.